start with questions whenever you guys are ready.
Coach, what was the main focus following Thursday's game and practice leading up to today?
Get better. You know, anytime you take an L, I think it's time to kind of recenter yourself. And obviously, you're always evaluating your team, regardless if you're winning or losing. I've said this many times. It's a lot more fun to evaluate and get better while you're winning rather than having to do it after a loss. But I think you always have their attention a little bit more after a loss. And, you know, we started back practice on Saturday, and the mantra was to get better, to buy into learning from our mistakes a little bit more, and to kind of recenter ourselves going forward.
What game, I guess, kind of brought it up a little bit, what kind of things did that game highlight, maybe things that you had been worried about that really reared their heads against Cal Baptist?
Well, I've been concerned about our defense for quite some time. You know, our numbers were so off the chart last year. I mean, we were, per KenPom, 16th in the country defensively, and, you know, that's hard to replicate. And certainly, you know, all of us wanted to do that, and it's a pretty lofty goal to try to defend at that level. But certainly that was our expectation. And, you know, you look at our numbers now, and the thing that sticks out the most is our defensive field goal percentage is just atrocious for our standards. And it's not like it just reared its ugly head. It's been a problem for the whole season. I thought maybe the sample size wasn't big enough, and we would eventually, you know, get it back to where we're comfortable with. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened. So in my estimation, we're not into the ball as much. We're not starting our defensive possessions with the right intensity, the right ball pressure. We're letting the offense dictate the possession too many times. And I always believe that, you know, the aggressive teams normally win if talent is fairly equal. And we haven't been on the defensive side of the ball. Fortunately, we've still rebounded at a very high level this year for a team that, you know, isn't the biggest team. But like, that's what I tell our guys is, you know, hey, we've overcome that height differential to be able to rebound the ball. So we can't use that as an excuse of why we're not, you know, defending before the ball is shot more efficiently. And so we've just really tried to, you know, recenter ourselves and get back to the basics. You know, I think I said this to Jason maybe last week, that normally when we lose in the heart of the season, I'd rather play pretty quickly to try to get that taste out of our mouth. But I felt like we needed a week to, you know, go back to the basics and go back to teaching our fundamentals, especially defensively, to try to everybody get on the same page and not worry so much about an opponent and scouting and their personnel and their plays and their out-of-bounds plays and, you know, their fast break alignment, et cetera, and just focus on New Mexico State and getting better, kind of like you do in the fall leading up to the game. So we'll see, you know, come Thursday if it's helped us. You know, time will tell, because the longer you do this, I mean, you just never know. I mean, we had our best shoot-around of the year the day of the Cal Baptist game. I mean, we were locked in, we were focused, we were high energy, we were flying around and felt really good about it. And then we came out as flat as we've come out in a long, long time. So time will tell.
Do you, like, we talked about it on Saturday, but one thing I forgot to ask you was, like, do you dictate minutes maybe on defense? Do you change personnel, like your rotation all based on defense? I mean, you guys are playing so well in all the other categories, but do you change, like, your rotation based on how guys are guarding the ball or defending or whatever?
I mean, a lot of things factor in who's playing. Certainly their body at work and their trust level. For this year's team, it's unique. You know, it's been well documented, you know, about how many guys we play. It certainly wasn't by design. It's just worked out that way. This year's minutes for a lot of guys is unfortunately a little more dictated by their in-game productivity in that particular game because of all the different pieces that we have. And it's very frustrating to sit here and talk about, our defense being the problem, because it's something that, is supposed to be a staple of our program. And right now it's lacking. I think everybody sees it, including me and our players. But the good thing is I think it's something that can be rectified. At the same time, we're not shooting the ball very well from beyond the arc. Our 2-point field goal percentage is pretty good, but our 3-point percentage is below average at best. And that rears its ugly head at times. I mean, we lost a game at Cal Baptist and we shot 31% from the field. I mean, that's hard to overcome, regardless of how well you defend or rebound. We shot 26% from three, I think. And at the end of the day, we've got to get some guys that are more consistent shooting the basketball game in and game out. We've relied on a hot hand or two in certain games, and that's great, but I'd rather have that extra hot hand, be an addition to, the couple guys that are being consistent, like most teams are, with their three-point shooting and with putting the ball in the basket. So, I knew going into the season, I had a lot of question marks. We had a lot of new players. I didn't know exactly how good we'd be, and unfortunately, this is crazy, but I still don't know, and I hate saying that. I'm just telling you the truth. We're a work in progress, and we've got to make a statement. This week we've got some great opponents coming in, and it's a chance for us to kind of right the ship, if you will.
I don't know what you think. I don't think it's a bad thing to still be figuring stuff out, though, is it? I mean, you don't want to be like a finished product right at the beginning of the WAC. You want to improve as the season goes on. I
agree. I think in the end, if you'd asked me that question, the first couple of weeks of March, I would 100% agree with you. But unfortunately, we put a lot of weight into each game. We want to win every game. We treat every game like it's a Super Bowl. Each game means a lot to us. We prepare hard. We work hard. Our players, get a lot of information from us, and we try to put them in the best position possible. So each game really means a lot to us and our program, and we want to win every one. And so right now, when you say that, I'm like, I'm pretty agitated that we haven't, had a little better record because of just our mentality. But at the same time, we haven't peaked. We haven't got close to peaking. It's just not my mentality. I don't talk even behind closed doors as a staff going, hey man, we're fine. We got pieces. I think everyone can see we got a chance to be pretty good in the end. But that's just not how we look at it. We want to be good now. We want to be good tomorrow. We want to be good during the games, and we want to keep getting better. But unfortunately, we've had some speed bumps, and we're trying to work them out.
Coach, did last week show how unpredictable the conference is as a whole, and did you kind of see that coming where it'd be tough to win on the road for everybody, and some teams that were in the upper level of the conference would go down on the road?
It's always hard to win on the road. That's the thing that sometimes people lose sight of is, all these coaches, are getting paid to lead their programs to, winning seasons and championships. And these players are on scholarship, and they're competitive and hungry, and everybody's working their tail off to try to win. So regardless where the game is played, everybody wants to win. Every fan base wants to win. Every administrator wants to win. Every coach wants to win. And then when you go on the road, it's hard, the travel and et cetera. That's not an excuse. Trust me. I'm not saying I'm the most competitive person in the world, but nobody wants to win more than I do. And I think my players are pretty competitive too. So, I think it's been well documented that the WAC's rising in terms of quality of depth of teams. I think there's more good teams this year than there's been in quite some time. I don't think anyone's going to go through the season with one or two losses. I just don't see it happening. I think there's been one road victory thus far. And so, the old cliche is take care of your, home court and try to, steal as many as possible on the road to put yourself in position to win a championship. And I think that cliche is probably going to ring true for the WAC race this year. But at the same time, I mean, our mentality is we want to win every game, and we're going to prepare our butts off to win Thursday and turn around and do it Saturday. And then when we go on the road next week, we're going to do the same thing. But I don't have a crystal ball. I can't predict the future, but I think it's going to be a highly competitive race this year.
You've seen enough from them the last few days to kind of feel like they're ready for this big week, especially with Grand Canyon. Obviously, that's going to draw a lot of eyes to the Muskers.
Well, it's Monday. You know, we don't play till Thursday. You know, we'll see how the week unfolds. I expect them to be. I expect them to respond the way we'd like them to and where our fan base would want them to. I think, you know, I'm hopeful by Thursday at 7 o'clock we'll be mentally and physically prepared to play a very, very good basketball team, a very tough-minded basketball team, a team playing with a lot of confidence. And so we're certainly going to have our hands full, but, you know, in trying to continue to build this culture in our second year and build a program that we envision, you're going to have bumps in the road. You know, it's not going to be rosy every day, and you're not going to win every game as much as we'd like to. But, you know, seeing our response this week will be, I'm anxious to see it, and I'm sure everybody else is too.
What does Grand Canyon do well that you've seen so far?
They're just big. They're big. They're physical. You know, they really guard. They play with a confidence about them. But they're just their thickness and their size, you know, all the way 1 through 5. And just their connectivity on defense and their commitment to rebounding the basketball. They're definitely a defensive-oriented team first. Not that they're not, you know, good on offense, but you can tell that that's kind of what they're trying to build off of. And they played a terrific schedule. I mean, they've played some great programs and had some near misses. You know, their record is what it is, but they're certainly better than their record indicates. We don't get caught up in that at all. You know, we don't. You know, the old saying is, you know, your eyes don't lie, and I know what I see on video. And they're coming in here, you know, with house money, if you will. And they're 2-0, and it's a road game, and you know they're going to be playing with nothing to lose, and they know we're going to be feeling like our backs against the wall in a very early season matchup. So we're going to have the right mentality by Thursday.
Do they look better than last year? About the same as last year when you look at them on film?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very good prognosticator, and I could tell you more maybe after playing them, but all I know is they're good. They're physical, they're tough, they reflect their coach, and they're going to come in here expecting to win.
If they're a physical team, I think it was kind of I don't expect Yvonne and Eli to go over again, but they need to have a better night, right?
Yeah, we were 3 for 19 from the 5. You know, if you combine those 3 guys that play the 5 position, we were 3 for 19. If you'd have told me that before the game, I'd have told you we got beat by a pretty good margin. And, you know, sometimes the ball doesn't go in the hole. I mean, some of those shots, when you watched them live, and then when you watched them on video, you're like, are you serious? Is this like a trick goal? Like, they were right at the rim, and they wouldn't go in. And it was very frustrating for everybody because we had chances to have momentum swinging plays, and they were right there, and it was basically them in the rim, and it didn't go in, you know, and that happens sometimes. And you're hopeful that on those nights you can rely on your defense and your rebounding, your toughness, and, you know, win. But we weren't able to do it, and you know, hopefully that ain't going to happen again. And at the same time, you know, they had good size. I mean, they got pretty good wall builders, 6'11" guys standing around the rim and play pretty physical. They had something to do with it as well. And, you know, with all the guys we have, you know, you're always searching as a coach to find the right mix. And we played some different lineups down the stretch, and you know, in my opinion, you know, gave us a chance to win the game because, you know, those bigs, and we had a little bit of foul trouble with AJ and Yvonne, and that dictated our lineups as well. But you know, in the end, we were in position to have a chance on a night where things weren't going our way.
Any other questions for Coach?
All right, guys, thanks.